Black Gemara. Today's daf is daf ayin vav. And the last thing we were learning was how do we know? The last thing we were learning here in daf ayin vav was how do we know that his daughter from the woman that he didn't marry but he just he raped is forbidden to him. The Torah just says the granddaughter from the son of the daughter. How do you know? So Abaye says, well, it's a kal v'chomer. It's quite obvious. If the granddaughter is forbidden, then surely the daughter is forbidden. And according to Rava, we have this Gzeir Shava, Heina to Heina, and then to Heina to Zima, and that's how we learn it out. And now the Gemara gives a third answer. So we're in the middle of the page, and it's Tani Avu Rab Avin. It's about 10 lines into the wide lines. Tani Avu Rab Avin, the the father of Avin said, you know why? Lefi Shaloi Lemadu Lebita Manusasa. You're right. Nowhere does the Torah say clearly that the daughter of the woman that you ma'anis, that you raped, is also to you. Therefore, we needed another pasuk, a pasuk that talks about something unrelated. It talks about the daughter of the daughter.
It's breaking up.
Okay, is it any better now?
Yes.
Okay. Ubas ish kohen. It says the pasuk, the daughter of a person who's a kohen. What do you mean the daughter? What does it say the word ish for? It could have said the daughter of a kohen. If she deviates, why the daughter of a ish kohen? It's extra. So it comes to teach you. Ima bas kohen. He was. So it's because because that it's extra. Ish is to tell you that also the daughter of a man, even though it's only from a woman that he raped, is also forbidden. Says the Gemara, Ima Bas Kohen, he say, we know by the daughter of a Kohen. Interesting, the girl gets Sreifa with the husband, the man who had the affair with her, the daughter of the Kohen. He gets Chenek. So the same thing should apply here as well. Av bita manusasa he b'sreifa ve'im boy b'sreifa. So the same thing should apply there. We're trying to learn out how do you know that the bas, the daughter of the woman that you were ma'anis, the daughter of the woman ma'anis is also us. The Torah only talks about bas bita and bas b'noi. I know herself. And Abaye says the kal v'chomer. Rav loves very shava. And Rabbi says we learn from bas ish kohen. It talks about a kohen, and we'll say it's extra the word ish to teach you over here also. So then we're asking a question: if you're comparing to a kohen over there, the girl gets sreifa. And the man gets chenek. So here too also, if a father has with his daughter, the daughter should get sreifa, and he should get chenek. And no such thing. Amar Abaye Abaye. Omakra. The pasuk says, "Esavia he mechalelos." By the daughter of the kohen says that she desecrated her father's name. It's her, she reduced the status of her father. So Mish mechalelos, since it's her fault that she reduced the thing of her father, the reputation of her father. So therefore, she gets punished, and one particular punishment, and her boy gets another punishment. In this case here, where the father himself is the one who has the affair with his daughter, the father did it himself. Therefore, there the punishment, the boy and the girl are exactly the same. Rava says no. I'll give you. I mean, that answer might be answer. I'll give you another answer. Over there, had it been a bas Yisrael, the same avera, you would get chenek. A bas kohen, you get sreifa. So we say the girl who's the bas kohen gets sreifa, and the man will treat it as if it's an ordinary bas. As far as he's concerned, makes no difference if it's a bas kohen, bas Yisrael, he gets the same punishment, which is chenek. Over here, if you're going to say that a father with his daughter is going to get a different punishment, what other punishment is there? That is a punishment for a father with a daughter, other than if she was a man with a pluya. No punishment at all. The man mukula din is the pluya mukula. Okay, says you want to find. So I know from here that you get punished if you have relations with the daughter of the woman that you raped. But what about Azhara? Remember, every punishment has to have a warning. Where's the warning? Azhara be how do you know? It's Abaye who says that they come under the normal laws, the kal v'chomer, the same place where you derive the punishment, you derive the Torah warning you don't do this. Who says you learn from Bas Kohen? So where's the warning for this person? No extra word about Bas Kohen when it comes to the warning to include also his daughter. So the pasuk, yes, it is. Al techalel es bitcha lehavnoisa. It says in the pasuk, don't make your daughter go in the way of znus, which is exactly what you're doing over here. Therefore, it incorporates also this case over here. So Rabbi Yaakov, the brother of Acha, the son of Yaakov, Hi alter chalas b'chlas noisa lahachidas. Is that what we do with that pasuk? How by the way, we learned alter chalas b'chlas noisa. We would have, we come to teach you. Come to teach you. You shouldn't be mechalal your daughter to be mezana. What do you mean you shouldn't lead your daughter astray? Yachal, I would have thought that it means that a kohen should, for example, should not have his daughter marry anybody but a kohen. Otherwise, maybe he's reducing her status. Maybe that's what it means. Al techal is bitcha, don't sort of desecrate your daughter lahas noisa to lead her astray. Yachal, I would have thought the kohen makes you be the Levi. If you marry your daughter off to a Levi, or Yisrael hakasim davar is forbidden. It's only forbidden if you do it for znus. We're talking about a chilul that's znus. A kohen, if he's married, a kohen in Yisrael is not znus. The Moishe is bita shaloi l'shem issues. That's talking about his giving over his daughter, not for the sake of getting married. In Cain, so look, we're using a different drush altogether. How can you learn from here that you're not allowed to have a relationship with your daughter from the woman that you raped? In Cain, lame across tarchel with one lamed. My al techalel shmamen otat. You learn two things. So you're not allowed to. The pasuk says, al techalel bitchal has noisa. It's no big machlek is a shiny. What exactly is the definition of nus? As we all know, the Rambam holds even once, if it's not in the name of kedushin. If it's not through a kedushin, that's called znus. That's also mahatayra. So even with a pnuya with a single girl one night is also mahatayra according to the Rambam. That falls under this pasuk at the chalas bitchalas noisa. So then, according to the Rambam, the question is: so what's a pelegish? The Gemara has a discussion. There's different distinction kedushin. This one is a pelegish, a concubine, and your wife. So according to the Rambam, you would have to say that a pelegish is with kedushin but no ksuva, like Rashi says. By the way, I saw an interesting thing that Rabbi Shabbos Soloveitchik says. What do you mean without a ksuva? We hold that ksuva is only Rabbanan. So mahatayda, all you need is kedushin. So what's the difference of pelegish and the isha? So he says, but like ksuva does not mean literally without a ksuva. Like ksuva means literally without what a ksuva represents, which is she'er ksus v'aynu, all the commitments that a husband, Torah says a husband has to his wife. He says, I'm prepared to marry her, but I don't want to have all of these things there. Not share, not ksus v'aynu, even though you're allowed to make it tonight, but here it includes everything. That's called a pelegish. Anyway, but then that's a contradiction. The Rambam elsewhere seems to be learning clearly that a pelegish is I think it's Malachim that he says that pelegish is no kedusha and no ksuva. So how come that's not considered znus? Then you have others who say the Ravid who said that znus is only if she is available to every man in the world. No, as a harlot. And the Ramban learns the third shitta. He holds that znus means only if it was someone that is also to her, even one night, but someone that's also. That's znus mahatayra. Okay, Maskar Yaakov. Sorry, we don't do that. Says the Gemara further. According to Bayir 5 lines to the bottom, the fine from out. According to Bayir what does he do with it? If you marry your daughter to an old person who's not interested in having any relations, you're forcing your daughter to go ahead and have nus with other younger people. So that's what it means. You're marrying your daughter, or you don't lead your daughter to nus. Don't get her married to somebody who's totally disinterested. Your time you learn at the challah because they said give your daughter a very old man who's not interested. You decide, you know what, you're going to allow your daughter to stay at home as long as possible. Why pay money to have a maid? You have a living maid right here, cheaper. So you know what you do for your own selfish reasons. There isn't a poor person by Yidden el Rosh Orum who is a conniving Russia, the Hamasha Bite Bageres. Then he says somebody who decides that his daughter shouldn't get married to much older. Or to Hamasha Bite, older means 12 and a half years old. Or to Hamasha Bite Bageres Lav Russia Aramu. What do you mean? It's like two separate things. What do you mean? And this, why is this person included in being a Russia Aram? He's deliberately holding his daughter back from getting married for selfish reasons. I'm going to buy it. He says, Ezehu Oni Russia, who is considered a poor person in Russia. So because of his poverty, he can't afford to have a maid. He wants his daughter to stay home. Ja, das ist ein Masche bitte begettes. Warum kann ich Rabbi Akiva have is I mean be very careful though people give advice, but they're doing it only for their own benefit. Aber wie aber amazing bitte the Zaka. A massive bitte Zaka. If you marry your daughter to an older person who's not interested, or a massive Isha living like you marry a woman to a young child. I tell you last time, the big machlek is how to learn this shot. To show him what do you mean marry? There's no kedushin if you marry a B'nai Cotton. So someone to say that B'nai Cotton. Okay, we'll get back in a second. If you give back a Veda to a guy, you're not allowed to. If you return a Veda to a guy, some say Dafka Ovid Avodah Zara, others say that it's showing it's no longer a mitzvah. If it's a mitzvah, Hashavas Aveda, it's only by Eden. If you're giving back to a guy and showing you're not doing it because it's a mitzvah, you're doing it because you're a nice person. So you're sort of is reflecting on all the other times you're doing Hashavas Aveda. Obviously, if it's a Kiddush Hashem, then you have to return it back. All of it because that's me. You want to attach someone who's full to someone who's thirsty. A young girl is interested in intimacy, and an older person is not interested in intimacy. An older woman is interested in intimacy, and a child cut is not interested in intimacy. A guy feels life is good, doesn't have to turn to the Eibishter, and a Yid is always constantly davening to Hashem for help. Is Hashem will forgive you. We learned how very important. When somebody loves his wife equal to himself, you should honor her more than yourself. Rashi means buy a nice clothes and jewelry. And you lead your kids in the right direction. You marry them off. Now, what exactly means samach lepirkan? So most of you learn it means, like Rashi says right here, dying ktani. How can you marry her for son? A girl is one thing. How can you marry her for son? I think one answer was here in a second. Oh, because when we die, take a shower, there's peace in your home. You remember your 10 below sechter, you won't sin. And you just said, no, cotton is no good. So we answer, some will pick shiny. Some will pick a year, 12 years old is all right. 11-year-old girl is all right. They're not married. So someone will say, but it's not znus. And when you become 13, they automatically get married then. Others say, no, a year before 13, tak is a marriage. We discussed last time, read Barbarazila, his shitta. The media learns it means 18 years old. It says in the Mishnah, it means a year old. And that's why the Rambam writes Ben Shiva Asr in Perishas Babadishas. He writes 7 years old. Everybody wants to know why. So they want to say the 17th year. Samach Lepirka. It's a year before. So it's 17. If you love your neighbors, if you love your neighbors, if you know your neighbors, first of all, then you have to love them. You're close to your family. The Hanoi says, you marry your niece. The Gemara says good things. The famous Rabbi Yehuda Chassid writes that one should not marry their niece. And the Rabbi Yehuda uses this as a proof. He says, what are you talking about? The Gemara says it's a mitzvah, and he says he shouldn't. And therefore he said the Rabbi Yehuda did for hold because of this, and a few other things, that Rabbi Yehuda Chassid Tzava is only for his own family, not like everyone, others who say it belongs to everybody. We'll come back to that in a second. If you help a poor person with their need, because you call out Hashem, will answer. Everyone asks on the where does it say it's a mitzvah? The Gemara just says it's a good thing. No, it doesn't say it's a mitzvah. So what does he want from the Yehuda Chassid? So we learned. This is what we learned yesterday. The Torah says that if you live with a woman, Isha or Bita, the eshen. Eshen in Hebrew means and them. No, those are two women. Now, if it's your wife and her mother, why is you getting punished for your wife? Why is your wife getting punished? So it's Greek and means only one of them, the mother-in-law, not the wife. Rabbi Akiva says Hebrew, both of them. Now what's going on here? My benai or by only arguing what the Torah is talking about. Rabbi Shmuel said only one of them. She came below and that's in Greek. And we're talking about your wife and your mother-in-law. And what about your mother-in-law's mother? The aim, so not written clearly in the Torah, you have to learn Madrasha. However, Akiva holds, S10 is talking about your mother-in-law and her mother and her and your wife's grandmother. So your wife is not in the picture here. We're talking about two other women, and they both, and SM means both of them. They both get punished. Akiva is clearly in the Torah, your wife's grandmother. And it's written right here, the mother-in-law's mother. And Rabbi says, Rabbi says, no, they're all talking about your wife and your mother. And the question is, do you get, and her mother, do you get punished for your mother-in-law when your wife already passed away? Rabbi Shmuel is talking about only one of them. That means even though your wife is no longer alive, and only your mother-in-law, and you have her affair with her, and Rabbi says, no, only if both are alive, and both, then Isur Balma, your mother-in-law is forbidden. Mishnah. Now we're up to the next one, Saif. The following get Saif. And the next Gemara, tomorrow's Gemara is very, which we can learn a little bit now, is the Sugya of Groma. which is a very important sugya, the causations, which affects the laws of Shabbos and so on. The following deserve to get killed. A murderer. That's what he gets saif. He gets cherif. The people in that city, that entire city, worship of Izara. So if a friend hit someone with a stone or with a piece of metal, the kavash all of the techamayim or and that, or the guy was under the water, and you put your hand on him, and you didn't let him stand up, or in a fire. The guy went in on his own, and you're not letting him leave. Then as a result of you can't leave. Who Mason died, chayiv, because this is directly because of you. What about the chav? You pushed him in the water, into the fire. The yachalav, when anybody else under normal conditions could have stepped out, would have survived. But it makes you die. Maybe had a heart attack, something else happened. Then potter. You're a cause, but you're a potter. Shisa by sakelev, if you incited the dog to bite him, or shisa by incited the snake to bite him, potter. Because again, I didn't do it; the snake did. He should buy a nachash, but if you're holding onto the snake in your hand, and you brought him over there, and you put the teeth in the guy's by the hand on the guy's hand, is Rabbi Yehuda says chayiv. What mamish? The snake is venomous, and you brought it on the hand and it bit. Chum say potter. We'll see later because the venom is not there. The venom is inside the snake. It comes out later. God says, how come the Torah describes killing someone by mistake? It doesn't say a handle by a metal; it says a piece of metal, and yet when it comes to wood and stone, it talks about a yad. Gemara says because metal is different. Everything else needs some weight to it. You need a handle. Barzel, if you just prod him and poke him in the right place, you can kill him. But if you take the length of the rod, same thing. It also then the question is whether there's enough there, sufficient metal there to kill a person. There we should know metal can kill you, even the smallest piece, if it's very sharp, and you stick it into the guy's heart. Therefore, I need to tie the by shear. That's why there's no amount, no quantity. That's only if it's very sharp and very pointed at the end. The kavash all of the techamayim, and the two cases, one where the guy went on their own and not letting him out, and one is where you pushed him in. Reisha revusik Reisha, there's a chiddush. The sefer revusik mash on the sefer is a chiddush. Reisha mash on the Reisha is a chiddush. Avagav the lavi yudoch, he didn't push him in, he went on his own. But the only reason why he can't step out and survive is because you're not allowing him to leave. You're holding your hand so he can't get out of the water. What makes him die is chayiv. Sefer revusik, the sefer is a chiddush. I forgot, even though the dachfai, even though you pushed him into and you put him in that situation, but keeping the yochalas, anybody else in that same situation could have survived. Something happened to the guy, nothing to do with you, unrelated. It makes he died, potter. So if you kavash, if you put him in the water, if you don't let him get out of the water, how do you know you're chayav? It says oi or with enmity. What do you mean or with enmity? So we say that you to include somebody you didn't throw him in or anything else, but you're not letting him go out. Sometimes literally you're making it very narrow straight. You can't. There's nowhere to move. Nowhere to go. So then you are liable. Oh, God was a person. There's a person that did not allow the animals of his friend and to go anywhere. So they had to stay in the sun, and the sun was very, very hot. Basically, they dehydrated and they died. Is Ravina says chayiv. You're chayiv. It's like you did it. And Abacha Balav says potter. Now what's going on here? Ravina says chayiv kabel when it comes to a murder. If you killed somebody by mistake, you're not liable. You go to Golas, but you don't get killed for it. But if you did it, you're not chayiv. Like if you did it beratzon. And Tosis lists a whole bunch of cases here where we see by murder ba'inus your potter. We had more about the end of the case of Regel. If you had a stone in your pocket you weren't aware of, and you're walking, the stone fell out of your pocket and crushed somebody's lying on the ground his head, you're potter because you had no idea. But then Tosis brings there other cases of inus where you are responsible then, and therefore obviously must be degrees of inus. You are potter, and yet if you are forcing someone, if you're limiting somebody's escape, and therefore as a result of that he dies, you're chayiv. We just said in the Mishnah is neziki when it comes to damages. If you cause damage, you were asleep and you turned over a million asleep and you broke some pots and pans, you're responsible. There's like an oinus. Again, not every oinus, because the thing is, the Shalmi says if you were sleeping in bed and they brought the pots and pans afterwards, then you're not chayiv. But on the whole, you're chayiv for an oinus, which means that we treat nezikin stricter than we treat by murder. So surely that becomes nezikin. What I did was I limited it, and the animal couldn't leave, and the sun bore down on the animal, and it dehydrated. You're responsible. So what's Rav Sarabacha's logic? He says you pot. You know why you pot it? I'm a Mashash. He just said pot. Comes along a Mashash, his grandson, says, "My time with Abu Adaba. What's the logic of my grandfather's words?" The point is pot because Amakro says a pasuk, Mois Yumas Hamake Reitzeyachu. The Torah spells out that this person over there who committed that sin, he should in that podcast Oibe Eva, where we're learning out the idea of Mitzamtzim. It finishes off. It says Reitzeyachu, or in that parsha there. It says Reitzeyachu, and what do you call it? And Mois Yumas Hamake Reitzeyachu, that he should be put to death. It says right after Oibe Eva. It says Mois Yumas Hamake Reitzeyachu. As if what if to spell it out for Mois Yumas Hamake Reitzeyachu? But tell you only but it's the chayv mitzamtzim. This chiddush that mitzamtzim is liable only when it comes to murder. But nezikin like chayv la mitzamtzim. But when it comes to nezikin, you are not chayv. Kafasei. What happens if you tie somebody up, and he died from hunger? Potter, you are potter. Now the Rishonim, the Ran, and others go a step further. You are hungry right now, but that hunger right now didn't kill you. It's a hunger that comes later. Anything which comes later is not here right now. Is called garama, a cause, and the cause. In a court down here cannot punish you. In Shemayim, Medina Shemayim, as far as Hashem is concerned, you murder the guy. But as far as a court of law here, we couldn't punish you because you were only a cause. Hold on, the water is, as we'll see in a minute. Good question. The water will be just like the case of the sun, which is if you tied him down in the sun. And the sun is hot, and over time he dehydrates and he dies. A mace, or betzina they call mace chayiv. You're chayiv. Why are you chayiv in this case? What's the difference? The Shem explain. In the case of the hunger that killed him is not the hunger that's there right now. Right now, this hunger is hungry. It's uncomfortable, but he's not going to die from this. He's going to die because an hour later, more hunger comes in, and your body emaciates and dehydrates, and eventually you die. Over here, the sun, it's the same sun. It's the same sun that was there now is there later, but just over time. And therefore, that means the murder weapon is already here now. So that's a much less of a grama. It's not considered grama. It's considered as if you already killed him right now. Same with the water. The same water that you're there now. And then some of the Hashem say, even the water, let's say, is streaming. Let's say it's one of these creeks that is constantly streaming. So the water that, let's say, that eventually caused you to drown is not the same water that you started out with. Nevertheless, we say the body of water is all one. It's one. It's all chadud. Like the sun is all one. Mashaying in hunger, the hunger that is killing you is not here right now. It's as time goes on, and you lose your the water in your body and so on, and you lose your keiches, and the keiches ebb, and eventually you die. It's not this. So that the murder weapon that's here right now is not what killed you. All what the hunger did right now which is your hunger, is you're hungry. But seif chamalami, seif tzilalav. Let's say you put him out in the middle of the night, and then the sun eventually will come. You know for a fact the sun will come, but right now the sun wasn't here yet. Or seif tzilalav, then you're pot. Others want to say even the sun already started because the sun right now at this stage is too weak to cause any damage. So therefore, it's called a grum and you are potter. Rava says, you tied him up in front of a lion, then you are potter. Why? Because Rashi has an interesting cheshbon. All the Shem argue, but Rashi says because this person anyway could not have escaped in front of the lion. The lion would have killed him regardless of whether he's sitting it tied up or whether he's 20 feet away and he's loose. The lion would have chased him and killed him. So therefore, you are potter. And lifnei yitoishin chayiv. But worms you chayiv. Others saying no, the lion didn't attack you yet. The word the lion didn't attack you yet. It's going to come later. That's grumma. By yitoishin, we're talking about you put the worms on the person, and therefore the weapon is already here. And Rashi, I feel that you play touching on potter. Rashi says eating touching potter is why? Because the worms that you put on him is not what killed him. It's other worms that come afterwards. Hani ozli, v'hani osu. It has to be the same. The same thing that will go back to the hunger. It's not this hunger that killed you. It's a hunger that later on came and killed you. Mashayim by the sun. It is this very sun that started is what killed you. If you put them out there when the sun's already out there bright. And same with the water. It's the same water that that you started underneath, under the water, submerged in the water, is what killed you afterwards. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.